Hi, folks. Andrew here, Top Fitness Strategies and Top Fitness Strategies presents. I am the face who runs the place. We got a great interview for coming up for you real quick. And I tell you what, I usually have an introduction, but I'm just going to bring Nate on and we'll go from there. So my guest this evening is Nate Wilkins from agelessworkout.com. And Nate, I tell you, usually at this point, I tell people how we ran across each other, but it's not very interesting because I found you on YouTube. and that's it. I saw some of your stuff and I said, here, him and we think alike. So I got to reach out to him and see if he'd like to come on. And you're gracious enough to give us with your time. So tell my audience and whoever else is going to be listening who you are, where you come from, and a little bit of your background, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so Andrew, we discussed earlier whether it's Nathaniel or Nate, and more recently, because of the fitness world, I'm Nate Wilkins, of course. In my other life, professional life, Parks Recreation Administrator for 27 years. I went by the name of Nathaniel Wilkins. Titles and all of those things were important to me. But right now, what I would say to you is that the most important thing to me is having an impact and changing the lives of people. And what we've attempted to do through the Ageless Workout, this idea that we kind of bringing together, is to bring all of these like-minded people together who are interested in taking back their life. And we're doing that through the Ageless Workout. So I got involved with health, wellness, and healing through a chance, right? I was working for a city operation as an administrator. I ran a Parks and Recreation department. And one day, city manager called me in and said, Nate, you got two choices. Said, you can resign or be terminated. Which one do you choose? I laughed. I said, wait a minute, I'm not going to pick the gun up and shoot myself. And so that's how I became involved in, working in the fitness world per se. I'd already been exercising because I had some health challenges. So I've been exercising and taking classes and then teaching. And, and so that led me into really getting involved. What's interesting is if you don't move on life will move on you. So right. That's kind of it in a nutshell. And I'll be glad to share more as we move forward in the conversation. But thank you for the opportunity. Listen, you took a chance on me, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So I would love to make sure this conversation is as fruitful as you would like for it to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the behind the scenes for the folks watching and listening right now, when two people get together and talk about setting up a time to do an interview such as that, one of the questions that comes up is what kind of topic you want to discuss. And right away, he sent me an email back and he wants to focus on, this is what I'm labeling this whole thing is fostering an ageless mindset. I saw that and I'm like, him and I are right on the same page because Nate, I don't know if you did any research on me or not, but one of the keys that I do in the fitness over 50 thing is I focus on mindset. So I'm absolutely in love with the topic to go forward with that. I truly believe that the older we get, the more conscious we are that we have to get healthy. But at the same token, the mind comes into play and says, you're too old to do anything, which you and I both know is not accurate at all. So sticking with the mindset, what are you seeing out there with the folks that are, let's just say, over 50 years old, of why their mindset changes from when they were younger, outside of they think their body is breaking down, if that makes sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've been indoctrinated with a lot of bad information, right? So people who are older than 50, they look at old information. They look at some of the advertisements that they've seen. And, and they look at other people who have really given up on themselves. And that's not the conversation that we're interested in. There's a whole new breed. There's a whole new conversation that's going around that people are just really, at this point, are really in their stride. And they have so much more that they could actually accomplish and really do for themselves through changing the way they see the world, right? Right. It is true if you see yourself as not able to do it and you have passed your prime and, your body is dying or your mind is not working. Yeah, that's true if you feel like that. But there's a whole group of us out here that says, hey, man, look, I got some more stuff that I can use. As a matter of fact, I got some things I could share with some young people. I got some things I could share with other people and help them live a better quality of life. And so that's where we're coming in and saying that here's where, where the rubber meets the road, and we can change the whole conversation if we just change the way we see the world and the way we see ourselves.
Oh, that's great. That is great. So what got you developing this like, and I don't want to the quote you, like you just said, the change. How did you say that? The way you see your mind versus the way you see yourself. I forgot. You just said it and it was brilliant and I forgot it. But how did you come up with that concept or that way of analyzing everything?
Well, it's association. When I had an opportunity to meet some other people who were going through their own challenges, but saying, look, I'm not giving up. I can give you an example of one of my clients who was suffering with a cancer situation, came to me and said that he wanted to work out, and he could barely make it every day. But each day when he worked out with me, he got stronger and stronger. And now he's beat the cancer. And so he's a prime example of that mindset that says, look, I don't care what's going on. I still got a chance as long as I can move. And so he took exercise as the key component. And as soon as he got out of and was still involved with the therapy and what have you, but as soon as he got out of the hospital, he came right to me and said, Nate, can you help me with my exercise program? So that's the stuff that I'm talking about with people like that who are 75 or 80 years old and saying, look, I still got some stuff left and I'm going to put it to work. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And I can give you some as examples of other people who I can point to that have said that no. I'm not going to just throw in the towel. I'm going to stand right here until I can't stand anymore.
It's fantastic. That's fantastic. And I like how you phrased everything else. And the age of the gentleman you're talking about were 70, 80 years old and everything else. And right away I started thinking, okay, since this whole thing is about fostering an ageless mindset. And once again, if you're just tuning in, thanks for being here. I'm talking with Nate Wilkins from agelessworkout.com. We're talking about fostering the ageless mindset. And we just mentioned Nate just mentioned a gentleman he worked with that is up there in age a little bit, over 70 years old. So my whole thing with the mindset and the ageless mindset, so to speak, is the people that once they get older, they like, for instance, myself, I am not in the my max bench press, without getting into a lot of details here, is 340, a long time, 340 pounds of bench press. I am at the age where I don't want to bench that much anymore. And I want to make sure that my mind says, just because you don't want to, or maybe you're not capable at this time of doing that, doesn't mean you still can't do other things. So when I talk about mindset, and I know I'm going a long way around here to get to this, but I guess my whole question is, do you see a lot of folks up there in age that are that don't have the mindset like the gentleman you just described, that say, you know what, I really can't do it, and just because of that, I don't know where to start. Is this making sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But here's where we have started our conversation. That you really don't have to do it like that. Really, you don't have to lift heavy weights. And so some people have a problem with the word workout or exercise or what have you.
Exactly.
And so we talk about movement, right? So we want to reach that 80% of people who are saying, I don't like that. I don't like the way it feels. People move away from stuff that hurts. And so we don't want them to do stuff that hurts. What we really want them to do is be able to move and be able to do what we call the activities of daily living. So as an example, if you have a grandchild or something, or if you are trying to carry groceries, we want to help people be able to lift up, if they want to, a 25 or 30 pound grandchild. So you do that through maybe lifting weights and gradually lifting weights. So if you want to carry your groceries yourself. So I'm talking about being independent. These are the types of things that we want to work with people to do. And so we want to help that 80%. That people like you and me, we know we're going to get there. We like sometimes to work out. I don't know about you. I do it because I find it fun. I love huffing and puffing. I love not to mention, I love the way it makes me feel. But more importantly, it's good for my health. And so I want to share that conversation and message with other people and get them away from so much dependency on medication. And let me say quickly that I'm not saying don't take medication, but we can help people move away from so much dependence on medication and more dependence on, natural health and what have you. So these are the types of things that I would encourage people to consider as you think about an ageless mindset or lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. You and I are so much alike with that, because I preach all the time, and I write a weekly column for my local newspaper that, like you said, people are scared of the word workout. They're scared of the word weights, scared of the word exercise sometimes, because right away, and this is what I've found out, that once they hear the term workout or exercise, they go back to when they were 25 years old and think, okay, I got to go to the gym for 4 hours and sweat. Right. No, the older we get, and maybe you've never started working out before, and I'm a big fan. It's like, if all you do is lay on the couch all day, let's start one thing at a time. Get up off the couch, walk around your house, and then you sit back down. You don't have to go to the gym and do a 4-hour workout right away. Am I in the same concept that you're talking about here, what you do?
Absolutely. Some of the new studies suggest that 15 minutes can do it. Sometimes, you can look at steps as an example, that 6,000 to 8,000 steps a day. You can actually get, at a certain level of fitness through, the steps. And you don't have to necessarily go outside to get those steps. You can walk around your house, like you said, get up and move. I mean, just put little pieces together, inch by inch, anything's a cinch. But I think where we run into a problem is that we see all these commercials and we see magazines and all these people who have they look a certain way. And so we think that that's what we have to aspire to. And that's not really true. That's what I'm saying. We want to reach that 80% and help them move better, help them feel better. And if they want to grow to some other things, we can help them get there. But for the most part, movement is medicine. Motion is lotion. And so we want to have people look at it from that perspective, and not so much that I got to get buffed up and and look like somebody on one of these commercials or newspapers or magazines.
Oh, absolutely. I say all the time, if your goal at our age, I'm not even going to ask how old you are. I'm over 50 years old. All right. I tell people all the time, if your goal is to show off your body on stage somewhere, that's fine. That's a great goal. That's not how I train. That's not the concepts that I get to. I just want you to look better, feel better, have more confidence. And like you said, if that means being able to play that extra 10 minutes with your grandkids, that's great. That's going to make you more puffed up than being on a stage somewhere, if you ask me. And once again, I'm not knocking that down. I have several friends that compete, and it's fantastic. That's not what I want to do. It's not how I train. And so hearing you say these little things, that basically reiterates the same things I've been saying. And I'm glad there's other people out there talking the same way I'm talking. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, let me answer your question.
Sure.
Indirectly, you said you won't ask me how old I am, and I'm really not old. What I like to say to people, and I always try to share with folks, that I'm 68 years young in the race. I'm in the race to reach 100, but I want to get there, in my right mind, and my body is feeling good. And so that's why we have this whole idea of the ageless workout, right? So you can't get ageless, at 60, right? Yeah. You have to start and build up to it. So a 30-year-old can look at this program and say, I want to be ageless. What do I have to do? So you backtrack. So if I want to get to 100, what do I have to do to get to 100? You got to do the things to get to 100. You got to eat right. You got to sleep right. You got to associate with people who are going the same way you're going, because those people will help you avoid problems, right? They'll tell you the things they've done to get there. And there are any number of examples around the world of people who, centenarians, who have lived to be 100. If that's your goal, to live to be 100, but if you just want to have a better quality of life, that's really what we're talking about. not being an invalid, not, somewhere where somebody is waiting hand and foot on you. So that's what we mean when we talk about the ageless workout or the ageless mindset.
Gotcha. And I appreciate it. Thanks for clarifying that and everything else. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a 180, but change directions just a little bit based on some of the emails we went back and forth with and what we talked about before we started recording here. You talked a little bit about mental health because, as we all know, the last couple of years have been really crazy going on with all the I don't even want to say the stuff going on in the world. A lot of people were cooped up in their house that didn't get out. Right.
Social distancing and whatever you want to call it. Yes,
exactly. Yeah. Whatever the phrase of the day is, so to speak, but we all know what we're talking about. We'll just leave it at that. So my question to you is you use the term mental health. So first of all, what do you mean when you say based on the ageless mindset and mental health? What is your definition with that?
Yeah. So here's what we're really talking about. Is that so many of us have gone through so many challenges, cooped up, like you said, cooped up in the house, worried about disease, worried about family. You've seen any number of people who have lost loved ones.
Absolutely.
And not even had an opportunity to say goodbye. But at the same time, you've seen upheaval and discontent and all types of things. And so there is, sort of a disconnect. And you can't help but have some mental health challenges associated with that, trying to worry about your family or worry about your own well-being, or, even if you have been working, but in some instances, some people actually lost employment. So they may have had to start over. And that has to have taken some toll on the mind and the thought process. And so when we talk about mental health, we talk about it from a number of perspectives. Some people have depression. Some people have what we call PTSD, through interactions or what have you. They've been called back to work and they don't want to go back to work. Their children may be in trouble, or, they're in a household where there's some discontentment, and there is, a limited amount of, love for each other going around, if I can say that. So when we talk about mental health, we talk about it from a broad spectrum. And so this notion of building a sense of community and connectedness and getting people, because we're social creatures, right? While we may be in social distancing, that didn't do us well. And we linked up through a Zoom and, and other means, but the interaction and building a sense of friendship with somebody and a sense of touch that you have with people, that is a helpful thing when you talk about mental health. So that's the mental health that I'm talking about. And if you take a look at television or listen to or read the newspapers, you'll find that there's a real high number of conversations going on around mental health. And so mental health is something that some people, particularly men, don't want to talk about, but it's something that we need to bring to the forefront and get some help and get some coping skills. So yeah, that's what, but let me say this to you, that I think that this work that we're doing around health and fitness is one of the keys to working with mental health. Because if you don't have the mental capacity, if the brain is not connected in the right way, the rest of the body won't function well.
Oh, I 1,000% agree with that. Absolutely. Now you hit on something, and this is one of the questions I have written down here. I'm just reading my question. I said, are clients reluctant to talk to a personal trainer about any kind of mental challenges? Now you hit it on the head, and I've experienced this. I'm sure you've experienced it more than I have, is the guys, gentlemen, we're too macho to talk about our feelings with another guy. But when it comes to training, for instance, if I come to you and hire you as a trainer, okay, I wanted to develop my body. I want to be, Mr. Macho guy here. But in order to do that, I have to overcome some, like you were just talking about, mental challenges. So how do you, if there's even a how-to, I don't know, how do you overcome that? How do you talk to the guys that just want to pump the iron and go back to the days of when I was in high school and college athletics.
Let me just tell you what happened with me.
Okay.
So over this time that we had the pandemic, I had an incident with prostate. My prostate was enlarged.
Oh my word!
And then the PSA actually kept going up, and as fate would have it, my doctor said we need to check this out. They go in, they do a biopsy, and find 4 different areas that were cancerous in my prostate. And so I go to a number of doctors, and they found out that it's Gleason 6, and so now they're watching. And I tell you this story because when others around me, where I've done some personal training and talked to my colleagues about my challenge with, because I said to myself, I'm not going to suffer by myself. I'm going to share this information with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I shared that conversation with a number of men in a men's health conversation via the net, but also in my workspace. And I found out through those conversations that other men were suffering with blood issues, with heart issues. I mean, so it gave them an opportunity to open up. So I think that we have to find opportunities to link up and talk to each other about the struggles that we have. And you're right, men have a tough time doing it, but more and more, I think that we need to come to grips with our challenges. So that's my story, and that's how I was able to break through with a number of men.
That's fantastic. I never even thought about that. I mean, I don't mind telling my personal story. Now, I don't have any, thank goodness at this point, no major injuries or a story like you have, but there are a lot of guys out there that do. And once you get one guy to start talking and opening up like that, the other guys are going to follow suit. I mean, I've seen it. And when you just talked about that, I'm like, you know what? I've witnessed this happen before. I know with brothers-in-laws, cousins, best friends, that and we've all had somebody, at least one person, if not dozens, that have gone through some sort of challenges, whether it be mental or physical, or like you said, something with your prostate. The older we get, the more we're going to see this. Unfortunately, it's out there. So how you just phrased that and how you just said it, opening up yourself, that's a great way to do it. So thank you for that. Okay. So once you start doing that, once a guy, and I don't want to just stick with the guys, but since we're both the guys, might as well. Once a guy opens up to you, I would assume it's easier to train him all around. And when I say train, I'm not talking, let's do, 20 sets of bench and 1,000 curls. I mean, just to get more, like you said, maybe walking around the house, maybe doing some sort of movement to do it. I would assume it's a lot easier at that point.
It almost becomes like a brotherhood. I can tell you that, again, through these conversations that I had, I was able to link up with some people who were just not moving. They had some other challenges. Maybe they were working with their own mothers or somebody in their household, and they were trying to take care of them, and they were, not taking care of themselves. And so this conversation allowed me to link up with somebody else and encourage them to take better care of themselves, to get moving, to eat better, to sleep better. So there are serendipities associated with building relationships, right? I think this is more than just fitness. It is wrapped up, right, in fitness, but it's a whole life experience that we're talking about. And again, it's not just men, right? We know that more now than before, because of the pandemic, women are talking to each other about their challenges. And, one of the other things we find is that, a lot of people are having struggles in their personal relationships. And so they, my partner, as an example, she's able to connect with women who are training with her and are saying, look, here's what's going on. Can I confide in you? And so we're not necessarily coaches per se, but what we find now as we move, Shebah and I, as we move closer to our new area, which is medical fitness, we're better able to circle around our clients and have these kind of coaching conversations, because that more and more we need to bring or bridge the gap between the medical and fitness. And there's a dichotomy with that. But the more we're able to help people through their mental challenges, we can help them also with their physical challenges.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And I only asked for a half hour of your time, and time's about up in a little bit. But folks, we're talking with Nate Wilkins, agelessworkout.com. Nate, I have a couple more questions, but before we do, can you tell people how they can get in touch with you? What are the best ways they can find you?
Sure. We have a website, agelessworkout.com. I have my email address, the Now Group Fitness @gmail.com. We're on Facebook, the Ageless Workout, and Nathaniel Oliver Wilkins. We're on LinkedIn, Nathaniel Wilkins, and of course, Instagram, Ageless Workout. Listen, we use all of the social media. So we do a virtual program. So if somebody wants to put their foot in the water and try some of our classes, we give that first session virtually free. So we encourage people to take a look at that. And then, of course, if we have a newsletter that we send out on a monthly basis that talks about the Ageless Workout, and we're building the Ageless Workout tribe. So if you want to be a part of that, reach out to me as well. That's one of the ways that we can connect. Okay.
Fantastic. And I'll have all those linked to it. Everything you just said, I have it linked in the show notes. Not a problem. So just remember that, folks. And also, if you're driving, and I say this all the time, Nate, if you're driving, listening to this, please keep your hands on a steering wheel. You can always reach me, and I can get you in touch with Nate. Not a problem. So in case you're not writing everything down. So not a problem. We can get that taken care of. All right. A question. Now, you hit this term a little bit ago, and I wrote it down because I wanted to know what this was all about. You said you want to bridge the gap between medical and fitness, and you said the term medical fitness. All right. Mm-hmm. Elaborate. What is medical fitness?
So Andrew, it's not a new idea. There's medical fitness practitioners and professionals, that are busy working right now. And so it's this group of people who understand exercise and who understand the healthcare system. The healthcare system is really being challenged. I mean, the cost of healthcare is just astronomical. I was just listening to a program today, around prostate cancer, and this guy was saying that he's taken a certain medicine they shoot in his stomach, but if it doesn't work, there's a more expensive, medicine. It's like $5,000, $5,000 a month. Now my mortgage is not $5,000. I don't know how
exactly
$5,000 a month.
Exactly.
But, so the bridging of the gap between the medical and the fitness world, making sure that working with doctors and other practitioners, whether it be physical therapists or massage therapists or chiropractors, to create this bond that links up and allows people to get a better quality of service. That's what we see as, the work of medical fitness. And so the role for a person like me is to provide the exercise information or the movement information, the prescription, and get a link with a doctor who would then pass a client on to me because they trust the work. They know that I do great quality of work. So it's this continuum of service that is better for the client in a nutshell. I can elaborate more. Have them look up Medical Fitness, the Medical Fitness Association.
That's fantastic. Now, once again, we can talk about this for days. I know you and I can. I'm sure we can. And I'm sure you'll be in agreement with this. One of the things I've always said, and there's example after example, whether it's on the internet or whether it's in your neighborhood or what have you, of somebody just starting to move their body, exercise, whatever the phrase is, that all of a sudden I don't want to say they're healing themselves because I'm not a doctor. I can't say they're healing themselves, but they get better just because they start doing something that's healthier for them than sitting around doing nothing. Did you see that as well?
Oh, absolutely. It goes again back to this conversation about mental health. The more you move, the better you feel, and then you can do more for yourself. You get out of the whatever depression or bad situations you're in, and you start to feel better, and then you can do a little bit more. You start to eat better. You start to associate better. It's just a matter of getting out from under whatever the burden is that you're carrying with you. And so
Fantastic.
this movement thing is more than what people realize.
Fantastic. Nate, and I want to thank you again for being here. Again, Nate Wilkins and this has been Fostering the Ageless Mindset. You can find Nate at agelessworkout.com. And what else do you want? You want to plug a couple things? Oh yeah. Before we get started. Oh, I just want to make sure I say this. The t-shirt you're wearing and the hat you're wearing, you have that stuff at your website, correct?
Yeah, well, they can actually write me, and I need to know sizes and what have you. But
yeah,
we make these things available. The Ageless Workout hat and the Ageless Workout shirt. Not to mention, you can join the Ageless Workout tribe, and that's all over the world, and there is no fee for that. So, Andrew, let me just say this to you,
Sure.
because I know that you probably don't get your accolades, but listen, I sure appreciate you taking the time out just to find me and allow me to spend some time with you. I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. People just don't realize the great work that you're doing, and I hope that this conversation will net more and more people coming to you and finding out the work that you do, whether it be voiceovers or whether it's website development or more podcasting or what have you, and and helping people look better, feel better, and have confidence. That work that you're doing is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And one thing I always ask this of the guests that I like, and I really like you, I like to reserve a time or reserve the right to ask you to come back and be a guest in a future episode.
Hey man, anything you want me to do. We're you're in the tribe. We're linked up through the work that we're doing. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Fantastic. Nate, thanks for being here again. Nate Wilkins at www.agelessworkout.com. And we'll end it here. So, Nate, once again, thanks for being here. And this has been Andrew, Top Fitness Strategies. And Top Fitness Strategies presents with my good friend and my brand new good friend, Nate Wilkins, agelessworkout.com. And until next time, this is Andrew and Nate. Ciao.
Thank you,